Hey, it's Christina here with
Extraordinary
Athletes. Here helping you fit fitness into even the busiest of lives.
But before we get started, no, I can't be Scott Herman. Can I be Scott Herman?
Hey, it's Christina here with
Extraordinary
Athletes. Here helping you fit fitness into even the busiest of lives.
But for today, we're doing something a little bit different. First, before we get into that, click like for us, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell. But if you're one of our usuals, you might notice we're not standing and doing our normal shtick.
We're sitting.
We are sitting and about to do our first ever Q&A.
So thank you so much for putting in your comments. We took some of them and we're going to answer some of the questions here today. Are you guys ready for the first question?
As
we're ready.
Best we can.
What is your current workout routine for each and every one of you? So I do what we call bro splits.
She does.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I was very little, 14 in fact. I like the feel to go in and really focus in on the muscle and then just obliterate it.
I'm picturing little Cat just getting in the gym being like, 20 sets of chest, let's go for it.
You go.
It is chest day Monday.
No, it's Sunday is chest day. Okay, Sunday.
I don't know.
Sunday.
They think chest day is Sunday. The international chest day is Monday.
Regardless. So what I like doing, I don't have a lot of time, so I try to do like 30 to 45 minutes of my workout. So I can't really combine muscle groups, but what I do now that I haven't done, I introduced this about a year ago. I never did core training, so had to start somewhere. So I just added on about 5 minutes every time I work out to another muscle.
After you obliterate a muscle in a bro split.
You got it.
Not the most efficient type of training, but Kat loves it. Okay, I'll go next. So I am partial to a push-pull legs kind of split, but if I'm being honest, and I'm ashamed a little bit to admit, I sometimes do bro splits. I'm Al.
Hi, Al.
And I just love doing bro splits. I know they're not maximally optimal training. I know they don't maximize muscle protein synthesis, but I love doing them. Thanks.
It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay.
Why is she patting me on the head?
It's
I'm
okay.
What? Okay, so I totally get the downside of bro splits.
So do I. Okay, I totally get it too.
Okay, and I often make fun of Kat for doing them so much. For a bro split, you're basically just obliterating one different muscle each day, which means by the end of the week, you've only hit each individual muscle once. Not the most optimal type of training. As a lot of people know, muscle protein synthesis is elevated for at most 48 hours
48
after you lift. And so what you're essentially doing by only hitting the muscles once a week is you're giving a lot of time to recover when you could be better maximizing muscle protein synthesis.
Unless you work out so hard that you need to take a week off.
So this is a great lead into the second problem of bro splits, which is you could potentially be accruing a lot of junk volume and overtraining on those particular days where you're hitting chest.
I think he's accusing you of junk volume.
Yes, I am, and sometimes I do it myself. But yes, you could end up with a lot of DOMs as you do. It takes you way too long.
She wants to be incapacitated.
Yes!
The point is, you probably shouldn't be experiencing DOMs for that long and shouldn't need a week to recover, which makes bro splits, according to the scientific literature, not the most efficient type of working out. But I will concede this point to Kat. I find it really fun, and I get why she likes it. And I think this is the most important point, right? There's a lot of talk about what the most optimal workout routine is.
It's the one that you stick to, guys. That's the optimal.
Yes, that's right. So whatever works for your injuries, your schedule, and whatever you enjoy. And I do enjoy a bro split from time to time.
Christina, what do you do?
Okay, I don't do bro splits.
No, she does not.
I don't. So I do a push-pull split that this guy helped me put together.
Push-pull, skip legs.
Push, pull, skip legs.
No.
I do legs on their own thing. Their own day is legs. So what I do is I work out pretty much 3 times a week. And I combine chest and bicep on one day. I combine back and tricep on one day. And I do legs get their own day. And then I throw core in there. I usually pair up core when the day I'm doing chest and bicep.
Now, can we just explain, because that's a bit different
Please do.
than the push-pull legs that most people do.
It's true.
So we designed it a little bit differently, you might notice.
It was him.
Where she's combining bicep and chest on one day, and she's combining back and tricep on another day. And you might be asking, well, why are you doing that? Well, the reason is a typical push-pull leg split that a lot of you do, and that I've done myself, has you working out 6 times a week. But in Christina's case, she's only going to be working out 3 times a week. And so what we did is we divvied up the pushes and the pulls so that on one day she's doing a little bit of push and pull, back and tricep. So that this way she can maximize muscle protein synthesis, because by the end of the week, she's done pushes on 2 separate days, pulls on 2 separate days, and legs a couple times as well.
It's true, and it honestly is very efficient. The workouts are not super long, so I can squeeze them in my day. And then what I do is I also try to throw in other things that I enjoy a bit more throughout the week. So I try to throw in ultimate frisbee, which is really fun. You get some really good cardio.
Love me some ultimate frisbee.
It's really fun. I'm not very good, but I'm enthusiastic. And I also enjoy doing yoga. So when I can, I catch a yoga class, or I do like an online yoga video.
Puppy yoga, goat yoga.
I am currently looking into doing puppy yoga. Very excited about it. Goats, like the goats are like little baby goats, and they like jump up on you.
Oh, because they climb everything.
Yeah, because they like to climb.
It makes no sense.
What do you? I don't want to hear it. Anyways, so that's what I do. So it's super efficient. The workouts themselves are not super long. You kind of get in, you get out, and you maintain some muscle and good body composition, and that works for me.
Second question.
Question 2.
What your crew thinks of CrossFit? What does your crew think of CrossFit?
We're gonna get a lot of hate.
I have thoughts.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so one...
We should also point out, we did a video
We did.
about this a little while back.
Pop it up.
We go into our fullest thoughts on CrossFit and what the science says. So check out this video wherever it's linked.
Yes, but I do have some general thoughts on CrossFit. So I talk about it in the video a bit more. But one time we went to a CrossFit box. I believe it's called a box. Yes, so Al was there. Kat was not there.
How dare you do activities without me?
So we went, never been before. We were there with 2 other friends as well. They had not been before either. So all of us were in a good state of fitness. But we basically got there and we got a CrossFit trainer who came as, like, knew it was an introductory session. And he was very jazzed.
Oh yeah, cocaine style
like,
jazz.
He was way up.
He was on something.
Yeah, so what he basically did was he put together a routine for us. And he...
By measuring first, like, all of your abilities, right?
No.
0%.
So he basically just took all 4 of us and said, we're going to pit you 4 against each other. You're going to do this routine, which was basically something like 50 rows, 50 squats, 50 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, 50 crunches. And you're going to do all of these as fast as you can.
But before, he taught you how to do all of those.
No.
0. Yeah.
And the important thing to note here is, I won.
Okay, settle down. Settle down, that is not the important thing to note, but he did win. But basically, so the 4 of us were going, it was all fine, we're all trying our hardest, but we're going as fast as we possibly can. The entire workout lasts a couple minutes because it's not actually very long, and I make it through the whole thing, and we all do, and then we stop and we're talking. Within like 30 seconds, I start to feel like I'm gonna throw up. I taste metal and pennies in my mouth. It was terrible. I thought I was gonna faint. I had to sit down and have some water, and it was just a very unpleasant experience. The worst part about the whole scenario, though, was I didn't actually get a workout from it. Like, I wasn't sore at all the next day. It wasn't really a cardio workout. It did no benefit to me. It was just unpleasant. So it didn't leave the best taste in my mouth for CrossFit.
It left a penny taste in your mouth. And the funniest part was when she was complaining, the trainer's like, oh yeah, this is normal, it happens to everybody.
Yeah. That shouldn't be normal.
Well, okay, look, so, like, all disparaging jokes aside, we'll give you our take on CrossFit, letting you know that this is just our opinion, and, you know, you're free to treat it however you wish. So the way we generally view CrossFit is to view it as a particular sport as opposed to like an optimal training regimen. So when you view it as a particular sport, just like you would with Olympic lifting or bodybuilding or anything like that, we think that's the best way to conceive of it. It's not something I would ever recommend. Personally, I'm a little, hesitant to suggest any type of kipping dips, kipping pull-ups. The point is, it's kind of its own exercise. So if your goal is to do as many reps as possible, because you're competing in CrossFit, then certainly these moves are for you. But if that isn't your goal, this is probably not the most optimal style of training. And so, like, view it in that fashion as a sport that if you enjoy doing, you accept the risk with it. Just like I play basketball, not the best on my joints, but I enjoy playing basketball.
You just hurt your finger.
I did. I actually broke my pinky. Look, full mobility. The second question we often get about CrossFit is, does it cause injuries? And the science on this is actually kind of interesting. If you look it up, it'll actually show current evidence suggests that injury risk from CrossFit training is comparable to Olympic weightlifting, distance running, track and field, rugby, football, ice hockey, soccer, or gymnastics. While that's interesting, and you can look at that and say, oh, it doesn't cause more injuries than other sports, it's actually not that helpful to the average person who just wants to get in shape to compare it to other sports you're not going to be doing. So it is slightly more injurious than what might be the safest methods for you. So if you just want to get in shape and be generally fitter, CrossFit might not be your game.
Okay guys, the third question is related to our backgrounds. So tell us about yourselves.
So we get this question a lot, backgrounds, education, how we got started in fitness. For me, how I got started was kind of based on an insecurity. I was a fairly skinny guy, and throughout like my high school years, I was always very insecure about my strength. And so eventually I decided to try to do something about that. And I actually became obsessed with powerlifting for a little while and was really focused on strength gains. And when I first started, I struggled to even just like bench press the bar. Like that's how weak I was when I first started. My point is I eventually surpassed that, became obsessed with like power and strength, but then I started to become too obsessed with that. And eventually for me, as I got more education and worked in the field more, my overall approach to fitness drastically shifted from the kid as a teenager who was just obsessed with strength and power to this more holistic approach, which is actually why I like Jeff Cavalier so much.
You just like him?
Yeah. Love Jeff Cavalier. He's the GOAT. Dude's the GOAT. Think we can all establish that. I don't care what the trolls say. The approach makes so much sense. It's not just about strength. It's not just about hypertrophy. Yes, build lean muscle. Yes, build strength. It's also about athleticism. It's about longevity. It's about quality of life. It's about mobility. It's about injury prevention, corrective exercise, all those things. And that's the kind of approach that I take to fitness now.
So mine didn't exactly stem from an insecurity of being a little weakling, but so growing up, I wasn't around working out. Working out wasn't really a thing, but I did do a lot of activities. So I guess my health journey started then as a child. I did like swimming and soccer and martial arts, but I was not at a high level of any of it.
Didn't you sing when you were supposed to be playing soccer?
I would sing on the field, and when I was like 8, I was in a league and I was the only girl. But instead of playing the soccer game, I would sing songs. And then what they did was they put me in net so that I could sing. And then the soccer ball would come and I'd kick it away so I could sing some more. Because I'm a true competitor.
Vicious competitor.
Star player.
So that was my intro into health and fitness. So I basically didn't really get into it until I just got a bit older, and really it was like for pragmatic reasons. I just want to keep my body composition in check. I want to be healthy. I started working out like proper in the gym probably in my early 20s.
For me, my fitness journey basically started not formally at all. I was 14. And I was super tired all the time, just lethargic.
No bro splits. You needed bro splits.
That's right. So my dad was and still is super into working out, and he's like, come with me to the gym. And the only
to his 14-year-old daughter.
Yeah, he was
That's
like,
awesome.
you need some energy. And so on Sundays I would join him, and Sundays happen to be chest days, as you already know. And I remember like I was so, first of all, self-conscious because I couldn't lift anything. So literally every week I would just go once a week and only do chest.
That's the ultimate bro workout. Forget skip legs, skip everything but chest.
Just chest.
I'll be honest with you guys. So I didn't really enjoy it. It was only in my early 20s that I was actually self-employed for a bit, and I was super stressed. And so I would go in between like super stressful jobs. And after that, because I used it as kind of a release, I got addicted to it. And that's how I really started. Next question! Would love to hear your thoughts and opinion on vegan diet versus other non-vegan option. And this is very specific for health purposes.
For health purposes.
All right. You're going to start this off?
I don't think, this is controversial, I don't think vegan diet is healthy.
I'm
What?
scandalized.
Don't put it that extreme.
No, so first off, I don't like the word diet. To me,
Okay.
that implies that it's temporary. But then there are individuals that obviously they make the choice for a lifestyle change that is vegan. And then that I don't think is necessarily healthy. I don't like to put your body into extremes. I think there's a great benefit for having an omnivore diet. I'm not saying I'm going to gorge on the meat. I want it to be well balanced. I went through a whole year and a half where I would predominantly have protein from my chicken and eggs and those things in the water, whether they're called fish.
Correct.
Things in the water.
For a year and a half, I got my protein not from red meat. And I have to tell you that when I introduced red meat, and it was just like once a week type of thing. It wasn't gorging on it, anything like that. It wasn't excessive, and it wasn't processed. It was like a slab of meat. I noticed marked differences in the longevity of my push. Like I was able, when I was working out, I had the energy to push even harder for longer, and it was a marked difference.
This is just our opinions. We're not giving like the scientific facts on this. But I have also noticed that, yeah, there's a difference when I eat meat on the days that I'm trying to recover or I want to push hard in the gym. And I'm saying this as a person who's actually rid his diet mostly of red meat. I barely ever eat it at all. But I will say one thing that we've kind of noticed is, what do we mean when we're talking about veganism? There are some vegans who, eat a very healthy, nutritious diet and like, that's great. There's other vegans who eat processed food all over the place. So French fries,
That's why
chips.
Beyond Meat has become such a big popular thing.
Yeah.
I listed some of the, so we made a video on Fitness Under Fire where we talked about, we discussed Beyond Meat. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? And I listed some of the ingredients, and it was just chemicals, essentially.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that debate, go check it out. We'll link to Fitness Under Fire channel somewhere here.
I mean, the problem here isn't necessarily that this processed food is specific to veganism. It's just really prevalent in veganism.
Yeah.
But when you mention what definition of veganism do we have, okay, how far do we take it? Because technically figs aren't vegan. Technically avocados aren't vegan.
What?
They're not. Figs, for example, they can only be pollinated with a type of wasp, and every fig has a dead wasp in it.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes, it's used. It's true.
So,
Specifically.
when I eat figs,
Yes. There's a
I'm
dead bee
eating
inside.
a bee?
Yes, because the fig itself.
No,
yes,
this can't be right.
Do you want me to Google it?
We're
Yes.
Googling. Get my phone! Get my phone! Okay, HuffPost article says, you'll never be able to unlearn what figs are. Most of the figs from a classic fig tree contain at least one dead wasp.
What?
This is amazing!
This
Yeah.
is terrible. Okay, so you weren't making stuff up. We've gotten a little off the vegan topic and onto the fig topic.
So that's when you mention the definition of veganism, basically you really are limiting yourself. You really are. If you want to be a strict vegan, there's not a lot of foods that you can eat. And even the foods that you think you can eat.
So let's circle back. Let's
my
assume
mind.
the most normal definition of veganism.
So you're not eating meat or eggs or cheese or milk
Yes.
products. Yeah.
Honey, you can't eat honey.
Honey, yeah.
Part
But
of-
if you can't eat honey, why are you okay with eating figs?
If you're allergic to wasps, can you eat figs?
So let's get back to the vegan question, which is, look, generally, is veganism healthy? Can depend on how you do it. If you're eating a lot of processed foods, French fries, Beyond Meat, and all of these processed things under the name of veganism, probably not the healthiest. I will admit, just because a lot of people have asked me, the moral question is something that pulls me. I have tried to cut back on red meat, both for health reasons as well as for moral reasons. But Kat's right. I do notice it a lot easier to get my protein in and to help my lifting when I am eating meat.
So I'm also not vegan. I'm also not vegetarian. I kind of more towards you. I tend to just eat chicken and a little bit of fish and eggs. I don't eat a lot of red meat unless it's like a traditional like Italian dish I'm eating with my family, because I'm not going to give that up. I just can't do it. But when I tend to go out to restaurants, and like us too, when we tend to go out to restaurants, a lot of the times it is a vegan or vegetarian restaurant, because with the kind of healthy living trend, those ones tend to have the healthy food. They actually tend not to have the processed stuff.
And it's delicious.
And it's delicious. Yeah. And a lot of those foods are really annoying to make because there's so many ingredients. They're so annoying. So I tend to go to those restaurants a lot of the time.
Yeah, and so not only is it delicious, but I do want to answer the question, and I don't know what you guys think, the morality of it. So the health is going to depend on you. Are you eating overly processed foods? Are you doing vegan diet properly? Are you able to get your proteins elsewhere? I will point out one other thing. As much as I'm partial to the vegan diet, I'm sympathetic to it, and I think the science does show that compared to the standard North American diet, longevity and quality of life improve greatly.
When done properly.
Although that's not saying a lot. The standard North American diet is terrible.
It's trash.
But yeah, so it can be helpful. But I will point out, a lot of vegans kind of undersell how difficult it actually is to be a vegan. So I'll just point out a few things, like if you're thinking about doing veganism, that's great and it can make you healthier, but do consider like B12 supplementation. Mm-hmm. Consider whether or not you're getting enough essential amino acids and if they're, as absorbable. Also consider something people often ignore and neglect, your omega-3s, your EPA and DHAs. I know. Vegans say you can get them from flax seeds, and you can. There's ALA in flax seeds.
How many do you have to eat?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The conversion from flax seeds to EPA and DHA is like 5 to 10%. So yeah, so I'm partial to it, but I do enjoy my salmon, and I do enjoy like eggs here and there as well. But the moral argument is so compelling.
It's very
the way we treat our animals is terrible.
Yeah.
And honestly, like just as a philosopher, this tugs at my heartstrings. Any sentient creature that has the capacity basically for pleasure or pain has some moral status. We shouldn't be torturing them. As much as I haven't given up meat, I truly do believe that.
Next question is about fruits. They want to know if they're bad. Some people say it's good. Some people associate certain fruits with glycemic index. Are bananas bad? No, bananas aren't bad. It's the apples that are bad, okay?
Wait, what? No, apples are fine.
Do you hate apples?
So basically, whoever asked this question shouldn't be asking to Kat, because she doesn't even know what an apple tastes like.
Or the watermelon. Oh my god, don't get me started on the watermelon.
I once saw her eat a watermelon sandwich.
Do we?
Remember? We were gonna work out or something, she was hungry and she was like, I need some food! And she goes in the fridge and there was some cut up watermelon. And she's like, but I need some bread too. I need some carbs too. So she took a slice of sliced bread. She put a hunk of watermelon and then another
I don't remember that.
You did, and you just like,
That makes sense, because I've been
That makes sense,
yeah,
doesn't it?
She makes weird choices.
At any point, do we want to answer this commenter's question?
Yeah,
fruits, are they good or are they bad? Look, honestly, I don't know why there's so much hate against fruits. Everything in moderation. If everything's done in moderation, there's nothing wrong with fruits. They're a good source of fiber, good source of micronutrition. Honestly, I really like having fruits before I work out. I find that the added bit of sugar is helpful to me. Of course, it's different for everyone depending on what your goals are. But the thing that I can't stand is some of the clickbaity scamsters who pretend like fruits coming to get
Thomas DeLauer!
And his anti-banana propaganda. There's so many people who have been like, the fruits are terrible, cut out the fruits, have a no fruit diet. I personally don't get it.
I think that most of us out there, we just want to be healthy. We want to eat well, keep our weight in check. There is so much stuff that you can be worried about before you have to worry about fruit.
Yeah.
Like the fact, it shouldn't even, just ignore the fruit issue. You're fine. If you're thinking about losing weight and you're like, should I eat this banana? Don't worry about it. Eat the banana, eat the fruit. Cut out the burger, cut out the fries, cut out the soda, cut out a lot of that other stuff. There's so much that's actually an issue that making you even have to worry about it when you're enjoying a strawberry. Like, no, just enjoy your strawberry. Enjoy your watermelon sandwich, whatever you want. You can eat that. That's fine. And I think that just the fact that this is kind of sensationalized with that clickbait and should you be eating fruit, all that kind of stuff is so harmful because it makes it that much more complicated when people just want to eat healthy.
I can't tell you how many times I've had clients come to me and ask, oh, should I cut out the fruit?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, let's say you're hundreds of pounds overweight, you're obese. And I look at your diet, the fruit is not what got you here.
No, you're
I've
fine.
never had a client who was like, oh my God, you know what? It's these bananas are doing this to me.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not the fruit.
It's not the fruit.
Like if you're at a really elite level and you're doing a thing where you're really watching everything you eat because you're competing, you're an athlete or whatever, fine. That's fine. Like I don't really have an opinion on that. I'm sure it matters and you can figure that part out. But if you're just a regular person and you don't have a very specific medical condition where you really have to watch your sugar and stuff like that, just if you find fruit yummy, eat it. And if you don't find fruit yummy, you should probably eat it because it's healthy for you.
There's a
and
lot
don't
of
worry about
nutrition in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, favorite fruit on 3.
Well, like mango.
Oh, I was gonna say mango.
Well, too bad I said it.
Okay, kiwi. I don't.
Really?
Jeff Nippard's a big kiwi man. And also, an underrated fruit, I believe, the pear.
No.
The pear is
No.
an underrated fruit.
Number 1
Yeah.
is either mango or cherries. Most underrated, papaya.
I don't like papaya.
You're
it
wrong.
tastes like farts to me.
What, I mean,
It's like,
what,
ugh.
what does that mean? What does that
Tastes like
mean?
fart.
Yeah. Have you ever had mangosteens? Oh, they're delicious.
That's not a thing.
She made that up.
Yeah, you
Oh,
think
just
so?
like the fig thing! In your face! Google it!
We're gonna
Google
have
it!
to Get the phone! Get
Why
the
do you
phone!
do this to
Man-
us?
Get the phone! Mangosteen. Oh my.
I always speak the
They
truth!
look like
What
some
is
type
this?
of strange fungus.
They're really delicious.
It looks like an egg on the inside. What's happening?
Well,
I also enjoyed a nice gooseberry.
Oh,
I like gooseberries.
Gooseberries.
That's
Okay, one of my favorite fruits, and you're not gonna agree with me.
No.
Tomatoes.
No.
Tomatoes.
No. No. I don't
You can slice them up, put them in anything!
No, I'm making a bold statement as an Italian, a person of Italian heritage. I don't like raw tomatoes.
You've brought dishonor to us.
They should be cooked up in a sauce.
Our other question is, I'd love to hear your thoughts on intermittent fasting or what kind of eating/food lifestyle plans you prescribe to. So I get made fun of a lot at work because I have a very strict eating schedule. So I have breakfast in the morning, then I get to work, and then I have my first lunch, which is around 11 a.m. And then I have my second lunch around 3 p.m. And then I go home and I have my dinner, and then I go work out, and then after working out, I have another meal. And it's a meal! It's not a snack! And then in between all those times, I have snacks. I need to constantly be eating for me to have, I feel like I have more energy that way. I don't have ups and downs in my mood. And I also have very specific things that I eat. I also make sure that in every single meal, I have a protein, I have a carb, and I have veggies. And
A clean eater type is what you are.
yeah, so I like a lot of raw foods. I like not to use a lot of oils. If I do have oil, it's always like flaxseed or olive oil. And so I don't eat out a lot because I actually feel really sick. Like I've been eating like this since I was really little.
She's never tried a pizza pocket or a pizza pop.
Okay, but what about you guys?
So I don't have any specific diet or anything like that I follow. I am probably not as clean an eater as Kat, but I do eat frequently, so I don't skip breakfast. And my regular day, same thing, I'll have breakfast, and then I get to work, I have a snack, then I have lunch, then I have a snack, then I get home, have a snack, and then have dinner, and sometimes another snack. It all depends. But my main thing is I'm trying to stick with whole ingredients. I try to avoid processed foods. I'm not always successful, but I do try to avoid that and stick with the whole ingredients. I love chocolate, so in order to not eat tons of like chocolate and dessert and stuff like that, I eat dark chocolate because it satisfies those cravings and it's delicious.
99%?
Yeah!
Not
That's-
99, maybe like an 88. One thing that I do find difficult is a lot of the times I'm not home, so I do find that challenging. So when I'm out and I'm eating at restaurants, I do tend to try to go towards the like vegan or vegetarian restaurants because they tend to be healthier, like we talked about. And wherever I am, I just try to pick the healthiest thing. I do a lot of like, I'll have the grilled chicken wrap.
Like, out of all of the different nutrition tactics that you can employ, I'm very similar to Kat. I'm a clean eater type person. One of the reasons why we love it is after you eat, you can play a sport, go for a run, work out. You really, you don't feel heavy. You don't get that kind of sick feeling that you do with processed foods.
Yeah.
And so my take on the different types of diets and intermittent fasting, and look, when you take a look at all of them, whether it's intermittent fasting, keto, paleo, whatever it is, there's different scientific studies, some that promote some that promote others. Certainly intermittent fasting has shown some, remarkable results with some people. But my general take is to each his own, or to each her own. So what works for someone, or what's best, honestly, that we would suggest is whatever actually works for you and is sustainable in the long run. Don't do an extreme diet and then have to jump off it 3 weeks later and do something else.
Also, you have to keep in mind that you want to make gradual changes, especially when you want to end from one extreme to the other extreme, if you can call clean eating extreme.
What I generally do with clients is a change every 2 weeks, a breakfast change, then a lunch change, then a dinner. And it sounds slow, but all of a sudden, 2 months later, you have a sustainable nutrition plan that you can actually adhere to. For me, I actually personally do something that I don't really like to talk about or recommend to people.
Oh, whipped cream?
No, that's just for Jeff Cavalier.
For people who haven't watched the Jeff Cavalier video, he doesn't mean that he uses whipped cream with Jeff Cavalier. We're gonna have to show a little clip of Athlete Next himself talking about how much he loves whipped cream and puts it on every meal.
Because one thing that catches people by surprise is I also include a bit of whipped cream here. I love whipped cream.
Anyways, apart from the clean eating, I'm not a big fan, obviously, of any of the fad diets. I'm also not a big fan of the if it fits your macros. I understand that can work, and I understand a lot of bodybuilders use it, but that doesn't necessarily give you the healthiest, most long-term approach. Micronutrients matter as well. And so what I do, that again, I don't like to promote, but I am an intuitive eater, and I know you pretty much are too. And the reason why I don't promote it is I don't actually think it's the best plan for most people. The only reason I became an intuitive eater is after years of like changing my habits. And the idea that anyone could just jump in and be an intuitive eater when their, palate is different and they are addicted to all kinds of foods and there's emotional issues and binge eating issues. Like it's just not realistic.
I think we're a good example. Like, I'm not an intuitive eater. I can't do, you grew up eating a certain way, so intuitive eating works for you. You've really consciously made those changes over years and years. I've made a lot of changes, and I think intuitively I do eat all right, but I can't fully rely on it because there will be a lot more desserts and there will be a lot more like restaurant food that I probably shouldn't be eating so much. It wouldn't go that well for me.
No, like a lot of people don't have the hunger cues, in a particular range such that they can do intuitive eating.
Yeah.
And also a lot of foods are addictive.
Yeah.
And we actually did a video on this and about intuitive eating, so we'll link it, check it out if you're interested. But there are foods that are created to get you addicted. Cheetos, nachos, there's different chemicals and different processes that they use to make you continue to eat. So if you've been, indulging in those as I used to when I was young, your hunger cues are all messed up.
Yeah.
And so the idea that you could trust yourself intuitively, like on day one, it's just not realistic. And I don't think that anyone who's promoting it as a general rule of thumb for the public is doing them a service. That said, though, over the years, I have gotten to a place where I do feel comfortable with intuitive eating. And I know there's other fitness YouTubers who it works for them. The advice that I would give, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but if you struggle with your relationship with food, what you should do is tackle your particular issue first. So for me, when I first started on my whole health kick, I noticed I'm an emotional eater. And even though it doesn't really show on me, I can binge eat. And so the first thing that I actually did, the very first thing, is all of the foods I binge ate, I actually replaced them with healthy alternatives. So instead of nachos were my absolute favorite.
You could eat a lot of nachos.
Oh yeah. So the first thing I did, because I knew I could binge eat a lot of that, is I replaced the fried nachos with baked organic chips. I replaced the sour cream with yogurt. I replaced the like processed salsa with like fresh salsa. And then over time, I generally cut back until I got to a much more comfortable and healthy place. And that's generally what I tell people to do. Find those changes that you can make for yourself and keep improving. So in short, we're clean eaters and we are big fans of like habitual changes that you make in order to make healthier choices. So for anyone who was hoping that we would like pick one of the diet types, we're not going to do that. If you're keto and it works for you, if you're paleo, if you're vegan, if you're an intermittent faster, you know, whatever, as long as it's not those like crazy fad diets like liquid only diet or the cayenne pepper diet or the cucumber diet, or there's a lot of nonsense out there. Don't do any of those. Or like severe caloric restriction where you starve yourself.
No.
Like none of that.
All right, guys. I don't think we have enough time to do other questions. There's still some.
Hopefully people made it this far after all our rambling.
Listen, we're gonna cover these questions and maybe some other questions that you post in the comments below in another video. Thank you so much for participating in these ones.
And don't forget before you leave, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification button, and we will see you in our next video.
And thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.